Hello again, and welcome to this episode of the Guns Magazine podcast. I'm your host and the editor of Guns Magazine, Brent T. We've got a fun episode today, an informative episode. I'm talking to Jennifer Lindsey. She's with the Tannerite company. And Jennifer, I call her now the Queen of Boom, and she's going to talk about the right and maybe a few of the wrong ways to be using Tannerite, a reactive binary shooting or target indicator. So we're going to talk to Jennifer Lindsey from Tannerite right now. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for having me today. We're so excited to be a part of this.
Well, this is actually our third interview. I interviewed you back, I think, episode 138, back when we were audio only, and then we talked to you at the SHOT Show either last year or this year, but it's always great to talk to you. You are the queen of Tannerite, I guess you would say.
I don't know about the queen, but I am in the world of booms.
Exactly. Well, I got to say, I wanted to have you back because Tannerite is a really cool product, and a lot of shooters use it. But I got to say, of all the stuff in the shooting industry, it's probably one of the more misused products, and that's what we want to talk about today. So, because I'll tell you, as we discussed right before I started recording, I really learned a lot from our first conversation, and I think that's important information that we're going to share with folks that may not be aware of some of that. So, anyway, let's start in the beginning. I just got introduced to Dan, the owner, and he's the guy that actually developed this product. So starting in 1996. Yeah. So how did that all come about?
So years ago, when Daniel was a young lad, his grandfather was into logging and blasting and those things. We're out in the Pacific Northwest where, using blasting and logging is a daily thing. And so as a young kid, he was helping his grandfather with different projects, and as he got older, he really started to get into pyrotechnics and how do you make pyrotechnics and how do you make this, and he is an avid hunter, and he was looking for something to do target practice with that just gave you a little bit more than a ting or that you get from a metal target or something, cardboard target, a paper target. So he took some of his experience that he'd had with explosive with his grandfather and put together Tannerite binary targets. It's considered a low explosive. It's a two-part thing where you mix I'll just show you here with our 2-pounder. You have a catalyst here, which is one of the chemicals used, and a secondary chemical. And you pour these two items into a mixing jar or a mixing container that comes with the product, and you shake it up extremely well. Your entire product will turn gray, and then you put it downrange. Each product has a specific requirement for how far downrange, anywhere from 100 to 200 yards, and shoot it. And so when you shoot this product, you get an immediate reaction of boom. And so you've hit your target, which is really fun when you're shooting long range rather than you have a target that's 200 yards or some of these amazing expert shooters who are shooting, hundreds and hundreds of yards, half mile, whatnot, beyond. Right away. So you're not having to walk down range and did I shoot it or walkie someone down range? Did I get it? Was I right on? So right now, instantly you get your reaction, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yes, it's a very visceral reaction. I've often enjoyed that. I think I told the story last time of I took my brother and sister-in-law out to the range, and I was bad. I didn't tell them, but we had a safe standoff distance, and I said, hit that thing right there. And what is it? It's just a piece of plastic. Just hit it. It was the jar, and when it went off, everybody's like, whoa, you got any more? So that really hooked them. But really, the cool thing about Tannerite is it's very, very safe, even when it's mixed. Now, I got to say, once it's mixed, I'm always a little leery of it. But as you've told me in the past, it takes something moving about at least 2,000 feet per second to make it go bang. So talk about the safety and some of that with it.
Okay. So when the product is unmixed, it's considered, just a binary. It would absolutely, like I drive around with cases of these in my car with kids and whoever. I don't even think about it. It's, two chemicals. Once it is mixed and you have these prels in here turn gray. So once this is mixed and this, all of this is gray, that's when you have a low explosive. So I wouldn't be transporting any of those things because there are some laws. Once you've created even a low explosive, it can't be transported. You need to use it or dispose of it wherever it is mixed. Unless you have explosives bunker and explosives license with ATF, and then you can store it and catalog it. But until it's mixed, it's completely binary. And then even once it's mixed, you're needing 2,000 feet per second to cause that kinetic energy and cause that boom. So oftentimes I find that people they'll get Tannerite and not realize that until they go out to the range and they're like, oh, the rifle I'm shooting, I'm not actually, because some of your rifles you think you're going to get 2,000 feet per second, but you could be shy,
Yeah.
Could be 1,900, might not work.
Well, and that's one thing that I think a lot of folks discover is a pistol, unless you're shooting some crazy type of pistol, it's not going to have the velocity to make it go bang.
But we do have our White Lightning. It's a product that Tannerite sells, White Lightning, and this is going to work with your 9mm. It's going to work with your pistol.
Oh, really?
So, White Lightning is a lot more volatile. It's smaller. It's not so much of a bigger boom. It's little disc, but a blast. They're a lot of fun.
A blast, so to speak.
Definitely.
So one question it just popped into my head, and I never have asked you, is fire safety. Because I've got quite a bit of Tannerite in my shooting cabinet out in the garage. It's stored near some of my reloading supplies, but it's a metal cabinet, and I think it's pretty safe. But is there any concerns about fire? Obviously, it's not mixed or anything, but does it present any enhanced fire danger?
So if it's not mixed, I can tell you from experience, when I first came to work for Tannerite, the factory had just burned to the ground. And there were barrels and barrels of these that were in storage. The container all the way around it melted, but the pearls were still sitting there.
No kidding.
But mind you, I'm not a fire marshal. I'm not a fire expert. But from my experience when I came here, there were, tons and literally tons of it everywhere in barrels that were in storage to be used. And the plastic just melted around it. Once it's mixed, that's obviously a different situation. So, but unmixed, you want to store it in a dry place. That's the thing that I think when it comes to storing Tannerite, that's the most important, is storing it somewhere that is dry and it's not absorbing moisture, because moisture will ruin the product.
I've wondered about that. I keep it in the original packaging, and I have a Deskin in there. But sometimes stuff gets set back in the cabinet, and it's pretty humid here in the summer. But over the years I've used this product, I haven't had any problem with it. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do get a lot of calls from people shooting reactive targets, thinking they are Tannerite, and then they discover that they're shooting another brand of targets that are not even comparable in quality. There are other companies that try to copycat us, but they're just not using the quality of chemicals, and often those products aren't working like people want them to.
Well, you actually beat me to that question, because I was going to point out that Tannerite is kind of like the Kleenex or Coca-Cola of the reactive target industry. You guys were first, and you're the biggest, and arguably the best, but there's a lot of folks doing it. And probably the bigger concern is there's a lot of, I mentioned this last time, you go to gun shows sometimes and you'll see Billy Bob and Clem got them a table of reactive targets. So talk a little bit about your competitors and some of the things that folks need to be aware of and concerned about, and how to know they're getting a good product.
So you need to be really careful when you're buying other products. There are a lot of companies that try to ride on our coattails. Obviously, Daniel Tanner invented the product. It's been 25. I mean, honestly, I think it's been well over 25 years ago, and then it took a few years to get it to market and whatnot. We've gone through all of the testing, following all the regulations. We work with all of your 3-letter agencies, making sure we're creating this product that's fun and usable. And some of the companies that are popping up, and I even hear about them on shelves in places. I know that they're not using the same chemicals. I don't know the exact. I have some ideas. I'm not going to get into that. But it's just a lower grade chemical, I believe, to be. And there's several different things out there. And I mean, when I'm going to be shooting a low explosive with my friends or family, I want a product that's been tested. It's true. It's been around for a long time. It's top notch. So that's why I recommend just get Tannerite. I know sometimes people will say, oh, I can pick up that other product and it's $1 cheaper or 50 cents cheaper. And it's kind of like, well, I can drink generic soda too,
Yeah.
right? But it's not really the same. It's like, there are certain things that, saving a few pennies on, I don't know. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to risk? I mean, what I know is this company has been around for, well over 20 some odd years. So I recommend shooting Tannerite. I recommend sticking with something that has been through, the time and the testing, and you're going to get a good experience.
Yeah. And I will point out, too, that you guys collectively do everything you can to stay above board. Like you said, you've worked with the alphabet agencies, and I know there's a backlash against this product in certain quarters. So you're kind of the one that is leading the charge in that regard, so that our liberties aren't infringed even more. So I think people going to use a product like this, they ought to support
yes, please do.
You guys. So
yeah, it's our legal team and us that usually anything with a reactive target or anything even close usually comes across our desk first, and our legal team first, and so much of the stuff that's happening out there that's getting bad press. They're calling it Tannerite. Once they get to it, it's not Tannerite. It's some who knows what chemical that someone either bought from a who knows where. So please support us. I mean, you can even just Google search some of these other companies, and you're not going to find them popping up right on top of the Google list. They're buried in there, and they're buried for a reason. They're like to fly under the radar. So it hits our desk first. It hits our legal team. It hits our pocketbook, first. Yep. And so support us even just for that reason, because every day we are fighting. We are working with agencies. We are working with legislation to keep this product legal. And if we did not put in the effort that we do, they would have probably tried to get rid of it years ago.
Exactly. And, I want to get into the safety angle of it, but I think the overarching thing here is when people misuse this or whatever product, all that does is give the entire shooting world a black eye. And that's why you guys... after our first interview, it was kind of challenging for me because I had a bunch of stories to tell, and then I realized that really wasn't the direction that you or I really wanted to go. Yeah. And it is so important to use Tannerite in a safe manner. So let's talk about what is the recommended manner of using Tannerite.
So once you take Tannerite out of its packaging and the instructions that are involved in each of the different sizes and in conglomerations. Some of the agencies, some of your local counties are then saying you're creating weapons of mass destruction. So I am asking, please just use the product as it's intended to be used. Each one has an instruction. This is our 2 pound. If you're looking to do some special effect, there are permits that you can pull with your local county and go that route. If you do not pull permits, you could be breaking quite a few laws. And that is obviously it's not on our behalf. This is, the world that we live in. We all live in the 2A community. We feel the heat everywhere, and we have heat on us every day about using the product as it's intended to be used. Once you change it from the packaging that it's shipped in, unless you've pulled a permit with your local county, you could be breaking a lot of laws.
Yeah. And from this point forward, when we talk about laws, lawsuits, use, misuse, I know you have to be very circumspect. So if I go down the wrong road, feel free to go another direction. Yeah. But no, I mean, I really, and this is my characterization, but I think this is probably one of the most misused products, thanks to the rise of YouTube, where we are appearing. But there are countless examples of folks doing things that are relatively benign all the way up to literally life-threatening.
Yes. And
you were pretty blunt when I asked, so what's the harm in doing that? I mean, what is the harm in using Tannerite in a way it's not labeled to use?
Well, first off, the first harm is, you could be breaking multiple laws. FEI is creating a whole new division of, considering it weapons of mass destruction, creating a destructive device. Yes. Whom sometimes I get morning texts that I wake up to my favorite FBI agents.
Oh, my.
So the other things are, when you're using a low explosive, you want to be intentional about what you're doing and follow the instructions, right? Once you're changing that and creating whatever, you're breaking laws, and second, you're endangering yourself and other people. This product is intended as a shot indicator. It's a really fun product for people to use, doing long range shooting, and anything beyond that it's a misrepresentation of the product altogether, and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And we want Tannerite to be around for our grandkids and our great-grandkids, because once you take a product and you misuse it and we're not able to fight off the legalities, we're going to be in a world without binary targets. There's so much fun, right?
Yeah. Well, and this is where Jennifer probably needs to turn her microphone off, because I'll make a few comments here. But, if you go on YouTube and you find folks doing some of this stuff, people have been killed because of it. And in my younger day, when I experimented with things that go bang in ways I probably shouldn't have, and then being a retired police officer during my career, the latter stages, I did go to a few bomb schools. I've been to New Mexico Tech, and I never got to be an EOD guy, but I know probably more than your average layman. And the more I learn about explosives, the more respect you have to have for them, because it's one of those things. For example, they call it the caterpillar effect, that if you see there's a situation where they're defusing the bomb or whatever, you'll have a bunch of people looking over, say, around a wall. And the statement is, an explosive device, if you can see it, it can see you. And if it's packed into something that turns into shrapnel or something like that, then it goes bang, and then they have what's called hunter-killers, which is that piece of shrapnel or wood or whatever coming at you at 20,000 feet per second. You'll never get out of the way. So that's the whole point of, don't make basically a bomb out of this thing. Yeah, it may look cool on YouTube, and it's all fun and games until it's not fun and games. And it's one of those things, the margin for error can be very small, and you never hear anybody going, boy, I wish I would have been injured even more. Yes. So...
Or injured someone else.
Exactly.
Like we talk to our children about, what's the worst feeling in the world? It's doing something and injuring someone else. That's a burden that you live with forever. So I'm like, just don't do dumb things. Use it as it's intended to be used. It's a really fun product. It is so much fun. And then we get to use it for many generations. But, just like in the 2A community, they're trying to remove guns from us. Look what they've done to Canada. Canada's already lost. You can't have handguns. You can't have this. And it's like, we live in a world now that our freedoms they're trying to take them every day in different ways. Yeah. So...
And I will add a personal political statement here. If the Democrats win in fall, whether you are a Democrat or not, they're going to come after the gun community with both feet. And I would say this will probably be one of those products that they will, by pen stroke, not by legislation, try to outlaw. So just my opinion, but I think it's a pretty safe opinion, and it's held by a lot of folks in the gun world.
And they're trying to in different states all over the country. I won't get into the details, but if you're
I can guess the usual suspects.
Yeah, if you're involved in politics and you are a pro 2A person, then get involved in your local community and voice your opinion, so these politicians understand how important these things are to us, because we're losing rights as we speak, and we don't even know. Because people are not getting as involved as they need to be. And maybe it's just supporting, some of your local representatives that, are 2A, and support them so they can continue on the fight.
Exactly. And, I keep going back to, and you said it yourself, we always have guests that to summarize, they always say, don't do stupid stuff.
Don't do stupid.
So packing Tannerite into something or in a way that it's not intended to be used is falls under stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You may get away with it this time, but you may not. And that's an awful feeling.
Well, you might have some people knocking on your door and taking you to those special rooms.
Yeah.
I don't know what those special rooms are like, but...
And you made a point when we were talking before that, okay, nothing happens, nobody got hurt, but if you made a large enough boom, that's not being very neighborly when grandma's house, a mile down the road, the window panes are rattling, and people do that stuff. So you got to be considerate with this stuff, too.
We get a lot of calls. I've taken them personally of, people shooting Tannerite in areas that are too close to neighborhoods or causing noise disturbance where they're rattling windows or rattling this or just different things. And do I know that it's Tannerite that they're using? No, but they're using some sort of product, and I'm always standing up for our right to use reactive targets. So whether it's Tannerite or another product, this is happening. People are complaining. And these people call and they say that we're going to go to our city council. We're going to go to our local Democratic and ask them to ban this product and ban guns and ban this. So again, whenever you're using anything in the 2A community, you have to hold it in the utmost respect of what you're doing, because when you don't, you're giving everyone in the community a bad name.
Exactly. It affects you, Jennifer, and I, and everybody else that enjoys it. One final thing on this is I know it's not so much a problem here in the green and lovely Midwest, but I know that Tannerite or reactive targets have been alluded to as possibly causing some range fires. If there's a burn ban in place, probably a reactive target is not maybe your target of choice unless you're very careful with it, but...
Using firearms in fire restriction times is something you don't do. I live in an area that we've been evacuated for fires, and you don't use chainsaws, you don't mow, you don't do anything that causes any kind of spark. We're not allowed to have outside fires in the summertime where I live because a spark from a contained fire. So when you are out shooting in fire restricted areas, you are creating sparks. Your gun is creating sparks. You're hitting rocks, you're hitting whatever, you're creating sparks. So we just ask people, if you are during a fire restriction, or if there is dry grass or anything that potentially could cause a fire, don't be shooting. Don't shoot Tannerite, don't shoot in that area at all. I mean, just shooting, rocks or metal targets or any of those things could create sparks and cause a fire. And I don't want to be evacuated again.
Yeah. Well, again, it goes back to that simple advice. Don't do stupid stuff.
Don't do stupid stuff. It's such a fun product, and people love it. We've literally saved marriages and created bonding experiences for people that they'll never forget the first time they shot Tannerite. So we want to be around for another 100 years.
Exactly.
Don't do stupid stuff.
So that perfectly leads into, let's talk about Tannerite itself. Talk about how it's packaged and some of the products you've got. And I know you've got some really fun stuff you like to talk about. So the floor is yours.
Okay, so we talked about our 2-pounder earlier, which is this. This is our 2-pound target. We have a new 2x5, which is really fun when you have a group of people going out and everybody wants their own nice big bang. The 2-pounder is the largest target that we sell. It's a pretty big bang, so make sure that you've got the space to be shooting 2 pounds of Tannerite. We also have this fantastic gift box right here. Let me grab it. It's kind of heavy. And right here. So we've got this fantastic gift box that we do. And you can find
that's going in the Father's Day gift guide.
Right. And one of our retailers, we work with some really great retailers. You can find Tannerite all over the place. But like our gift box, Dunham's is doing a special with us that they're going to carry this gift box for us. So Father's Day, Christmas, if you're looking for a gift for someone and you're like, I don't know what to get them. Well, if he has rifles, get him some Tannerite. And that's at Dunham's. You can find our Tannerite in general at Academy, all over the place, your local dealers. We also, for people who own gun stores and you're looking for Tannerite to carry in your store, you're going to find us at Worldwide, Big Rock, all of your buy groups. You're going to be able to, or you can do a direct account with us. Either way. And inside of our gift box is a fantastic stainless steel mug. You can buy these from the website as well. A nice stainless steel mug. And then, like we talked about earlier, we have our White Lightning. So if you're looking for a rimfire target. And then we obviously have 1 pound, half pound. We have our bricks, which are 1 pound, half pounds in different, denomination or different, numbers per package.
I was thinking of a couple of things here, and I'm blessed. I've got a gun store, 150 yards from my house, and they are amply stocked with Tannerite. So that means I'm amply stocked with Tannerite.
Good.
So what a great product. And like you said, I think the cool thing is shooting a gun is fun when it's done safely and all that, but shooting a gun with Tannerite, especially for folks that have never been around anything like that, again, it's just that wow, So
yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it's a great time when you're out shooting, just to add that that extra boom. It's unbelievable how fun it is. And I recommend everyone stock up on Tannerite. You can buy it from our website. You can get it from retail stores. If you're retail, we're carried in a lot of your farm stores as well. Your local farm store, if they don't carry it, ask them to call us, and we'll get them stocked up.
And how do folks learn more about Tannerite?
Our website has some really great information. So I recommend going to Tannerite.com. It'll give you a lot of great information on there as well.
Well, Jennifer Lindsey from Tannerite, I appreciate you talking to us again. It's always fascinating, and it gets my juices flowing. Like I said, I've got my own stockpile out in the cabinet. So, I think it's time to head back out to the range and make a big boom. So
make a big boom. Go get some Tannerite.
Exactly. That's advice from Jennifer Lindsey, the queen of boom, as I've self-titled her. So, Jennifer, thanks for joining us yet again.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Well, it was great talking to Jennifer Lindsey of Tannerite, and hopefully we got the message across to use Tannerite. It's great fun, but you got to use it as directed. So that's it for this episode of the Guns Magazine podcast. Before we go, I would like to remind you, please check out our sister publications, American Handgunner at AmericanHandgunner.com, AmericanCop.com, and of course, my little old magazine, Guns Magazine at GunsMagazine.com. Well, like I said, that's it for this episode of the Guns Magazine podcast. On behalf of all my coworkers here at FMG Publications, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent T, reminding you yet again, get out there and get shooting with some Tannerite.